man. It's okay to cry, don't you?
Back here in Baton Rouge, police tell us they caught this man, Devon Bentley, in Colorado. He is facing charges for the death of a woman back in July.
Yeah, police believe Bentley shot his former girlfriend in a home along Joyce Drive during an argument. He was already wanted on several charges and will now also face murder and attempted murder charges.
September 16, 2020. 3 children dialed 911 in absolute terror. Their mother was bleeding out on their living room floor. And the man who shot her was someone she once loved. Have you ever ignored red flags that could have saved a life? Brenda Mullen did. A single mom, gunned down after refusing to let her ex back in. But here's what will make you furious about this case. 2 months before, this same man had fired shots at another woman in front of her family. The system knew his danger, yet it failed her. This is the story of a rapper on the run, a mother's tragic end, and the texts that predicted her murder. Welcome to True Crime Autopsy. Heavenly Father, we come before you today to ask for your protection over all our viewers. Surround them with your peace and shield them from harm as they engage with these stories. Keep them safe in their relationships and homes, and grant them wisdom to recognize danger. Amen. Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell right now because this gets so much darker than you think. Comment below right now. Have you ever had a gut feeling about a red flag in someone's behavior? That rejection on September 16th wasn't just a moment. It was the spark that ignited a deadly rage. The prior shooting in July wasn't just a warning. It was a scream ignored. The evidence tells it all. Bullet holes in the door, shell casings on the floor, text messages begging for safety. You'll see how love turned to violence. You'll feel the weight of those children's cries, and you'll learn what happened when Devon Bentley faced the law. The arrest came fast. The trial ended in life imprisonment. But the appeal? It lingers in limbo as of 02:07 AM CDT on September 23, 2025. No resolution yet, no closure. You'll find out the twists by the end. This video exposes the signs, it reveals the failures, and it asks you to act. Don't miss it. The phone rang that night, the shots fired, and Brenda's life ended. Her story deserves to be heard. Her tragedy demands justice. Hit subscribe now, ring that bell, comment your thoughts. Let's start with the woman who lit up Baton Rouge. Let me tell you about Brenda Mullen, a woman who deserves so much better than the fate that awaited her. December 10th, 1979. A baby girl was born in Baton Rouge who would grow up to become everything a community could hope for in a neighbor, friend, and mother. Brenda Mullen entered this world with a spirit that would touch everyone around her for the next 40 years. Growing up in Louisiana, Brenda walked the halls of Arnold Senior High School, where classmates remember her infectious laughter and genuine kindness. She wasn't the type to seek attention, but somehow attention found her anyway. Teachers loved having her in class, not because she was the smartest student, but because she made everyone else feel comfortable and included. Her smile lit up the room. Her words lifted spirits. Brenda was a connector, the friend who remembered your birthday, the one who shared her lunch when you forgot yours. After graduation, Brenda found her place at All-Star Toyota of Baton Rouge. Her co-workers describe a woman who arrived each morning with genuine enthusiasm, someone who remembered everyone's birthdays and always brought extra lunch to share. The dealership became her second family, and customers often requested to work specifically with her because of her honest approach and warm personality. She wasn't just selling cars, she was building trust, helping families find their way home. Her desk was a hub of stories about her kids' latest antics, her mother's recipes, her weekend barbecues. Brenda thrived there. She rose through the ranks, not by climbing over others, but by lifting them up. Her colleagues called her the heart of the team. Customers became friends. Baton Rouge knew her name. But work was never Brenda's primary focus. Her 3 children were her universe, her reason for getting up each morning, her motivation for every decision she made. She documented their lives constantly, filling social media with proud moments, first steps, school achievements, silly faces at breakfast. Every post radiated pure maternal joy. As a single mother, Brenda mastered the art of balance. Mornings meant packed lunches, homework checks, and getting everyone ready while maintaining her own professional appearance. Evenings were for helping with school projects, attending parent-teacher conferences, and creating the kind of stable home environment she never wanted her children to take for granted. Her friends often marveled at how she managed it all. PTA meetings, work deadlines, soccer practices, and still finding time to be the friend who listened when others needed to talk. Brenda had this remarkable ability to make everyone in her life feel valued and heard. The Baton Rouge community embraced Brenda as one of their own. She volunteered at school events, supported local businesses, and maintained relationships with families she'd known for decades. At 40, Brenda felt ready for companionship again, not someone to complete her. She was already complete, but someone to share experiences with, someone who could appreciate the life she built and the children who meant everything to her. She wanted partnership, respect, and maybe a little excitement after years of focusing solely on her role as a mother. Her dating approach was cautious, but optimistic. Brenda understood her worth and wasn't willing to settle for less than she deserved. She'd waited this long to find the right person. She could wait a little longer rather than compromise her standards or her children's security. Friends remember her talking about wanting someone mature, someone who understood that her children would always come first, someone who could add joy to their established family dynamic without trying to change it. She dreamed of weekend trips, dinner dates, and having another adult to share both the responsibilities and celebrations of daily life. Brenda was 40 and looking for love after focusing on motherhood. What red flags do you think single parents should watch for when dating? Share your experiences and advice in the comments. So, who entered Brenda Mullen's world in Baton Rouge? Devon Bentley, known to his fans as D-Block, stepped into her life in 2019 like a burst of excitement she hadn't expected. At 24, he seemed like a dream come true for a single mom seeking companionship. A local rapper with a growing name in Louisiana's hip-hop scene, Devon brought a flair that contrasted with Brenda's steady, grounded life. They met at a community fundraiser in Baton Rouge, where he performed a set and she volunteered at the food table, her warm smile catching his eye amid the crowd. Their courtship progressed quickly. Within weeks, they were texting daily, sharing laughs over late-night calls that stretched into the early hours. Devon's charm was magnetic. He complimented her kids, brought small gifts, action figures for the boys, a doll for her daughter, and seemed to understand her hectic world of work and parenting. Brenda trusted him. She saw a partner. He moved into her orbit, joining family dinners with her 3 children, cheering at their soccer games, becoming a fixture in her routine. The relationship felt right. A fresh start. A shared future. Devon didn't just date Brenda. He pursued her with intensity. He introduced her to his music world, whisking her to recording studios where his beats pulsed through the walls and local gigs where his lyrics electrified the audience. He bragged about her to his crew, calling her his queen in front of flashing lights and adoring fans. Friends noticed her glow, snapping photos of them together, smiling at a park picnic, posing backstage after a show, her kids peeking into the frame. Brenda's children warmed to him at first, laughing at his silly raps, asking for autographs. Her co-workers at All-Star Toyota heard tales of his attentiveness, how he'd surprise her with flowers or drive her home after a late shift. The trust built fast. She let him into her home, her life, her heart. Devon promised stability, a break from her single mom grind, talking of future trips to New Orleans jazz festivals or recording a track with her kids' voices. Brenda believed in him. She loved the idea of sharing her joys and burdens with someone new. The courtship was a whirlwind. a dance of hope and connection that felt like a song coming to life. But beneath that surface, hints of control began to show. His questions about her schedule grew pointed. "Who were you with after work?" he'd ask, his tone shifting from playful to probing. His presence lingered longer than necessary, popping by unannounced even when she needed space. Brenda didn't see it yet, or maybe she chose not to. The trust was real. The love was growing, but the control was creeping in. Friends noticed him texting her constantly, even during her shifts, demanding instant replies. Her kids mentioned his mood swings when she couldn't answer, his smile fading into a scowl. Devon's charm masked a need to dominate, subtle at first, suggesting who she should hang out with, insisting on knowing her plans, but gaining strength with every passing week. Have you ever wondered about the risks of dating someone with a public persona like a rapper? What dangers might hide behind the spotlight? Share your thoughts in the comments. The relationship was forming, the trust was building, but the danger was waking. Devon's shadow grew heavier. Brenda's light began to flicker. The fairy tale was cracking at the seams. But as months passed in Baton Rouge, something began to shift. Devon D-Block Bentley's charm turned possessive. He didn't like Brenda Mullen's independent spirit. Her success at All-Star Toyota made him jealous. Her late nights with co-workers or time with her kids. That sparked rage. He started questioning her every move. "Who were you talking to at work?" he'd demand, his voice carrying a sharp edge that made her stomach twist. It wasn't care. It was control. Brenda's friends noticed first. They saw the tension at gatherings, how Devon would interrupt her conversations, pulling her aside with a forced smile. Her children picked up on it too, his mood darkening when she couldn't drop everything for him. But Brenda brushed it off. Love has its rough patches, right? Her co-workers heard her excuses. "He's just protective," she'd say, her voice unsteady. Red flags piled up. Devon's jealousy grew obsessive. He scrolled through her phone, grilling her about male clients or old messages. Threats emerged. "You'll regret leaving me," he'd mutter during arguments, his eyes cold. The danger escalated in July 2020, 2 months before Brenda's death, when Devon fired shots at another woman in front of her family. The incident, in a Baton Rouge parking lot, left the woman shaken but unharmed. Police charged him with aggravated assault. He was released on bond, a warning sign the system ignored. Brenda didn't know the full story then, but whispers reached her. Friends warned her. "He's dangerous," they said. Her kids overheard the news, their worry growing. Yet, she stayed. Love, fear, denial. She couldn't decide. The prior shooting wasn't just a fluke. It was a pattern. The danger was documented in small ways. Text messages to a friend revealed her unease. "He's getting worse. I'm scared." Her social media posts grew sparse, the joyful updates replaced by silence. Her children noticed his temper, how he'd slam doors when she set boundaries. The family's concerns mounted. Brenda's mother called more often, her voice laced with worry. "Come stay with us if it's bad," she urged. Her friends begged her to leave, sharing stories of Devon's past. Her co-workers at Toyota saw the strain, offering to intervene. They knew something was wrong. But how wrong? They couldn't imagine. The suspense built. The breakup loomed closer. On September 15, 2020, Brenda hinted at ending it. "I can't do this anymore," she texted a friend. Devon's reaction was fierce. He demanded reconciliation. She refused. The tension reached a breaking point. Have you seen jealousy turn into threats you couldn't ignore? Comment below. The arguments grew frequent. The threats grew bolder. The prior shooting screamed danger. The family's fears grew louder. Brenda's mother prayed nightly. Her kids clung to her tighter. Her friends pleaded for her to act. But Brenda hesitated. Love? Duty? The weight of her kids? She couldn't choose. The storm was brewing, and it was about to break with a single deadly refusal. By September 2020, the strain between Brenda Mullen and Devon D-Block Bentley had reached a breaking point in Baton Rouge. The tension that had been simmering for months erupted on September 16, 2020, a night that would forever alter the lives of her 3 children. That evening, the air grew thick with unresolved anger. Brenda had made her stance clear. After weeks of threats and jealousy following their breakup, she refused to let Devon back into her life or her home. The rejection, hinted at in a tense phone call the night before, became final that afternoon. She told him no, firmly, unequivocally, over a brief, heated exchange. Devon's response was venomous. "You'll pay for this," he hissed, his voice laced with rage. He demanded to see her, to force a reconciliation. Brenda stood her ground. "Stay away from us," she said, hanging up. But Devon wasn't deterred. He drove to her home on North Acadian Thruway, his mind set on confrontation, a gun tucked in his waistband. The rejection escalated with terrifying speed. He pounded on her door, shouting her name, his fists hammering the wood. Brenda's 3 children, ages 12, 9, and 6, huddled inside, their eyes wide with fear. She texted a friend, her fingers trembling. "He's here. I'm scared. Call someone." The dread deepened. Devon's knocks turned to violent bangs. He pulled the .45 caliber pistol he'd carried since his July 2020 arrest. Brenda refused to open the door, her voice shaking as she warned him to leave. He fired. Bullets ripped through the wood. One struck her chest. She gasped, stumbled, fell. Blood pooled on the living room floor. Her children screamed, their cries piercing the night. Devon fled, the roar of his car engine fading into the darkness. Minutes. That's all she had left. The clock ticked with merciless precision. The children's sobs filled the house. Brenda lay still, her strength ebbing away. The dread heightened with every shallow breath. Where was help? What had he done? The family didn't know the full horror yet, but the nightmare was unfolding in real time. The children acted in desperation. The oldest, just 12, grabbed the phone, his voice breaking as he dialed 911. "Mom's shot. Help us," he sobbed, his siblings wailing in the background. Brenda's fight ended. Her life slipped away in those final minutes. The rejection wasn't just a boundary, it was a trigger. The shooting wasn't just rage, it was a deadly response to losing control. Her friends' warnings echoed in the silence. Her mother's pleas went unheard. Have you ever ignored a gut feeling that proved fatal? Comment below. The escalation wasn't just an argument, it was a breaking point. Brenda's instincts screamed danger, but love, or the fear of escalation, held her. Her children begged her to lock the door tighter. Her coworkers urged her to report him, but she faced him alone. Do you trust your instincts when a relationship turns violent? Share your thoughts below. The breaking point came and went, and Brenda's life ended in those precious minutes. September 16, 2020, plunged Baton Rouge into chaos. The quiet night shattered at 8:47 p.m. when 3 children dialed 911, their voices trembling with raw terror. "My mom's bleeding. Someone shot her," the oldest cried, his 12-year-old voice cracking, his younger siblings 9 and 6 wailing in the background. The dispatcher's calm instructions clashed with their panic. "Is he still there?" she asked. No answer. Police raced to the modest home on North Acadian Thruway, sirens slicing the night. Inside they found Brenda Mullen's body sprawled on the living room floor. Blood soaked the carpet, a stark contrast to the family photos on the walls. A single bullet wound pierced her chest. The scene stunned. Bullet holes pocked the door. Shell casings glittered under the officers' flashlights. Text messages on her phone screamed her fear. "He's threatening me. Help." The evidence painted a story of desperation and violence, but the horror was just unfolding. The discovery hit like a thunderbolt. Brenda's children, 12, 9, and 6, huddled near her, tears streaming, unable to comprehend the loss. The oldest had tried to stop the bleeding with a kitchen towel. his small hand stained crimson, his face etched with shock. The youngest clung to a stuffed bear, sobbing, "Mommy, please wake up." The 911 call replayed in their minds, the dispatcher's voice a distant echo. Devon, D. Block Bentley had fled, leaving chaos behind. Cordelia, Brenda's mother, arrived minutes after police, alerted by a frantic call from a neighbor. She burst through the door and froze. My baby, she wailed, collapsing beside her daughter, her hands shaking as she touched Brenda's still form. The emotional peak crashed down. Brenda's warmth, her laughter, her unwavering love for her kids, gone in a gunshot. The community didn't know yet, but the grief was spreading like wildfire. The family mobilized in a frenzy. Cordelia called relatives, her voice breaking. She's gone. He shot her. Friends from All-Star Toyota rushed to the scene, tears mixing with fury. Neighbors gathered outside, whispering in shock. She was always there for us, one said. Who could do this? Another demanded. The children's 911 call leaked to the media, their terror broadcast on local news, amplifying the chaos. The search for Devon began instantly. Police traced his abandoned car blocks away, its engine still warm. Text messages on Brenda's phone, weeks of threats, pleas for space, were seized as evidence. Bullet casings matched his registered .45. The kids' statements confirmed his presence, their young voices steady despite the trauma. The chaos intensified. Brenda's co-workers organized at the dealership, planning support for the family. Her friends launched a social media campaign. Justice for Brenda trending by midnight. Cordelia's horror fueled the response. She clutched Brenda's phone, scrolling through their last texts. Stay safe tonight, she'd written hours before. No reply. The children recounted the night, their voices small but resolute, describing the bangs, the shots, the silence that followed. The community rallied, candles flickering outside the home as news crews arrived. Whispers filled the air. She didn't deserve this, a neighbor wept. The system failed her, a friend raged. Can you imagine your kids making that 911 call? How would you face the chaos and loss? Tell me in the comments. The discovery wasn't just a crime scene, it was a family shattered. The chaos was only the beginning of a desperate hunt for justice, with Brenda's memory driving every step forward. September 16, 2020, ignited a relentless pursuit in Baton Rouge. The moment Devon D. Block Bentley fled Brenda Mullen's home, police sprang into action. The crime scene on North Acadian Thruway yielded critical leads. Bullet casings matched his registered .45 caliber pistol. Text messages on Brenda's phone, threats spanning weeks, pointed directly to him. His abandoned car, found blocks away, still warm from his escape, held fingerprints and a faint scent of gunpowder. The investigation moved fast. Officers traced his phone, pinging it to a nearby hideout. Within hours at 2:13 a.m. on September 17, 2020, police surrounded a friend's apartment in Scotlandville. Devon resisted, but the SWAT team took him down, handcuffed, silent. The arrest was swift. The crowd outside cheered. The hunt ended, almost. The evidence stacked up. Forensic analysis confirmed the bullets matched Devon's gun, seized during a prior 2018 arrest for drug possession. Text messages revealed his escalating rage. You'll see what happens if you leave. Witnesses, including the July 2020 shooting victim, corroborated his violent pattern. The investigation dug deeper. Devon's rap persona, D-Block, hinted at a life of bravado masking instability. Police interviewed his crew, uncovering his paranoia since the breakup. Charges followed. Second-degree murder for Brenda's death. 3 counts of attempted murder for the children present. Illegal weapon use. Firearm possession by a convicted felon. The motive remained murky. Was it rejection? Control lost? Revenge for the breakup? His defense later claimed temporary insanity, triggered by the July 2020 arrest stress. Prosecutors argued premeditation, citing the prior shooting. The ambiguity hung heavy. Was it a snap decision or a calculated act? The suspense lingered. The trial began April 2023, a 5-day marathon. The prosecution presented the physical proof: bullet holes, casings, texts. The defense fought with doubt, questioning identification, suggesting another shooter. The jury deliberated for hours, guilty on all counts. The conviction meant Louisiana's mandatory sentencing. On August 9, 2023, Judge Thomas sentenced Devon to life imprisonment without parole, no release, no reduction. His legal team appealed in 2024, arguing insufficient evidence and procedural errors. The Louisiana Court of Appeal upheld the verdict. As of 02:24 AM CDT on September 23, 2025, Devon remains in a state facility, appeal exhausted. But the questions persist. Have you seen a motive hide behind a public mask? Comment below. The arrest marked justice. The investigation revealed patterns. The life sentence closed a chapter. Yet, the why haunts still. For Brenda Mullen's family, the loss cut deep. But what happened next surprised everyone who knew them. In the face of unimaginable grief, the Mullen family made an extraordinary choice. They refused to let Devon D-block Bentley's actions define how they remembered their loved one. Instead of drowning in the horror of how Brenda died, they chose to celebrate the incredible life she had lived. Brenda's mother, Cordelia, captured their spirit in media interviews. "We're rejoicing. We're rejoicing at the life Brenda lived. We're rejoicing at the love she gave." This wasn't denial or an attempt to hide their pain. Cordelia spoke with raw honesty. "I see her smile every night. I hear her voice with the kids. It's a pain that won't fade." Yet through that anguish she found purpose. "I don't want another mother taken like this." Her daughter's death would not be meaningless if it saved even one life. Days after the tragedy, on September 20, 2020, hundreds gathered for a vigil at Estruma Baptist Church in Baton Rouge. The sanctuary transformed into a sea of light, candles flickering where photos of Brenda's laughter with her kids stood. Pink and blue ribbons, her children's favorite colors, adorned the pews, worn by family, friends, and co-workers from All-Star Toyota. Speakers shared stories of her kindness, her dedication, her joy. The event drew media attention, amplifying her legacy. The community response grew. Domestic violence hotlines reported spikes in calls. Women found strength in Brenda's story. Maybe a single mom saw hope. Maybe they sought help from local shelters. How would you honor someone's memory after such loss? Share your thoughts in the comments. The funeral followed, filled with tributes, her children's drawings, Cordelia's tearful words. A GoFundMe raised funds for the kids' future. The vigil wasn't just mourning, it was a call to action. Friends kept her memory alive online. Her community pushed for change. The fight for justice continued. The Mullen family's pain pointed to systemic failures. Baton Rouge police had responded to Devon D-block Bentley's home multiple times in the months before September 16, 2020. Heated arguments. Neighbors' complaints of shouting. No arrests made. Why? No clear answer. Officers cited insufficient evidence, high call volumes, over 1,500 domestic incidents in East Baton Rouge Parish that year. But Brenda's family saw neglect. Her texts to friends detailed fear, control, jealousy. Yet no protective order enforced, no intervention offered. The gap between warnings and the shooting screamed oversight. Brenda's mother demanded. They knew. Why didn't they act? The July 2020 shooting of another ex-girlfriend, firing shots in front of her family, left Devon with a warrant for aggravated assault. He was released on bond, a red flag the system ignored. Brenda didn't know the full extent then, but whispers reached her. Friends warned her. Her kids overheard the news. Yet he walked free. Neighbors' silence added fuel. They heard fights often, but no one reported. Were they scared? Indifferent? No investigation clarified. As of 02:24 AM CDT on September 23, 2025, The case remains in limbo. Devon Bentley was arrested on October 13, 2020, in Denver, Colorado, after fleeing Baton Rouge post-murder. Captured without incident, he faced charges: second-degree murder for Brenda's death, 3 counts of attempted first-degree murder for the children, illegal weapon use, and felon in possession of a firearm. He pleaded not guilty. Bail denied, citing risk. The trial began April 2023, a 5-day battle. Prosecutors presented bullet holes, casings, texts. The defense claimed temporary insanity, overwhelmed by the breakup. The jury deliberated hours. Guilty on all counts. On August 9, 2023, Judge Thomas sentenced Devon to life without parole. No release, no reduction. His team appealed in 2024, arguing insufficient evidence and procedural errors. The Louisiana Court of Appeal upheld the verdict. But as of September 23, 2025, whispers of further delays persist. No new hearings. No resolution. The family waits. Brenda's children grow without full closure. Was evidence mishandled? Was the system biased? The suspense lingers. Devon's defense insists accident. Prosecutors push intent, citing the prior shooting. Forensic tests confirm deliberate fire. No misfire, but justice hangs. Court transcripts reveal tension. Brenda's family wore shirts with her image. They demanded answers. The judge noted abuse patterns, threats, isolation. Yet limbo drags on. How do you feel about cases dragging without resolution? Do you think justice delayed is justice denied? Comment below. The 2025 update teases more. No final appeals resolved, no sentencing tweaks. Systemic lapses, unserved warrants, ignored reports, highlight failures. Police regret prior inaction. But regret doesn't bring Brenda back. The fight for accountability continues, hinting at secrets still buried. Brenda Mullen's death didn't end with that September night. Her case became the catalyst that forced communities and lawmakers to confront the deadly gaps in their systems. The tragedy sparked a wave for domestic violence awareness. Advocates rallied for change. In Baton Rouge, local organizations like the Capital Area Family Violence Intervention Center saw a surge in calls after her story broke. Women trapped in abusive homes found courage. Maybe they saw Brenda's fate and decided to leave. Maybe they sought help from hotlines like the National Domestic Violence Hotline. The impact spread beyond Louisiana. National groups pushed for stricter laws. Louisiana's response to domestic violence, lacking universal mandatory arrests in some cases, came under fire. Proposals emerged for better training. Officers needed to spot red flags faster. Brenda's texts from weeks before, ignored until too late, fueled that demand. Her story wasn't just a tragedy, it was a call to action. The community impact grew wide. Baton Rouge held fundraisers, turning grief into momentum. Co-workers at All-Star Toyota organized events, raising funds for Brenda's children's education and therapy. The Remember Brenda campaign trended locally, with social media posts sharing her joyful moments, family barbecues, kids' smiles, while highlighting warning signs. Domestic violence hotlines reported spikes in calls. Women recognized patterns in their own lives. Maybe a single mom saw the control and left. Maybe a mother sought safety for her child. Schools in East Baton Rouge Parish added education on signs, jealousy, threats, isolation. Teachers spoke of instincts, parents listened, neighbors reflected. Maybe they wished they'd acted on those heated arguments. Brenda's dealership peers kept her desk as a memorial, flowers and photos a daily reminder. National advocacy groups cited her case in policy debates. Her death pushed discussions on fugitive tracking and mandatory arrests for prior violence. The ripple effect reached every corner. Communities questioned their safety nets. Were they doing enough? Brenda's story forced that reflection. The emotional close weighs heavy. Brenda was her children's universe, the mom who packed lunches and cheered at games. She was her mother's pride, the daughter who shared everything. She was her co-worker's heart, the friend who listened without judgment. In Baton Rouge, she was a pillar who volunteered and lifted others. Her home, once filled with laughter and school projects, became a symbol of lost potential. The 40-year-old who dreamed of companionship had decades of joy ahead. Her infectious laughter, her genuine kindness, gone in a gunshot. The Mullen family's grace, rejoicing at her life while demanding justice, modeled resilience. Their vigil at Istruma Baptist Church, funeral tributes, and ongoing support for the kids turned loss into legacy. Brenda's mother said, "She loved fiercely. We fight for her now." Her friends added, "Brenda's light guides us." The fight wasn't over. Questions linger. What can we do to stop domestic violence? How can we train police to intervene sooner? Are we listening to instincts before it's too late? These aren't abstract debates. They're steps to save lives. Share your ideas in the comments. What action will you take to honor Brenda's memory? Will you support local shelters? Educate your family? Speak up for victims? Your voice matters. If this moved you, like, share, comment your thoughts. Justice for Brenda. May her light endure. Thanks for watching. Let us say a prayer for all viewers to stay safe out there. Heavenly Father, protect our viewers from harm in their relationships and homes. Surround them with love and wisdom to recognize danger. Amen. Subscribe for more stories that matter. Hit that notification bell. Keep the conversation going below. As of 02:24 AM CDT on September 23, 2025, let's carry Brenda's legacy forward together.